Hello again, friends. We've got a show that promises to be at least mildly interesting for your listening and watching enjoyment. For our guest interview, I've got Leslie Witt at 8 a.m. Not at the time, 8 a.m., but for the company. She's the new chief product officer over there, and she's got something to say. And in the counter program, Gyi Tsakalakis of AttorneySync joins me as we discuss the classic Austen film, Dazed and Confused. Stay weird, everybody. Now for the eternal question. Is your collection game strong? So, the traditional advice for lawyers to collect the most money has been get the biggest retainer possible because you'll never see another dime from your clients. Now, that may not be true, but you could certainly act like it. And I'm okay with that advice. I think that's perfectly fine. But I have a revised strategy, possibly a corollary, that if you need to collect money, which at some point you may have to do, not every law firm, but the vast majority of law firms need to collect money, you should maybe have a plan for that. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. So the question is what does that look like? And there's two species of answers. So I'm glad you asked. Option number one is to have a collection process in place of some kind. So that's really a workflow if we're talking about a soft collection. So let's say somebody hasn't paid you. What happens? In most law firms, nothing happens. They continue to not pay you. You as the lawyer move on to the next work and you forget entirely about it and you lose that money forever. But with a collection workflow, you'll have some kind of follow-up process in place. I don't know, maybe even call them and say, hey, could you pay me the money you owe me? Yeah, that'd be cool. You could maybe send some emails. Maybe there's some other messaging that goes out. The point is you want to have a system in place of some kind. And that system should escalate. And that should also be consistent with whatever kind of documentation or terms you have in your engagement agreement and related documents. If you have a stop work order in your engagement agreement and somebody hasn't paid you, stop work. If you have interest penalties in place, deploy them, or at least threaten to deploy them because you can via the contract, and maybe that'll encourage someone to pay you. Do you have an arbitration clause in your fee agreement? You could utilize that. Some states have a arbitration forum through the bar associations, and so you could have had your client sign off to go to arbitration before having to go to a lawsuit. So you want to have a collection structure that you deploy that should be consistent with what you place into your engagement agreement. And then you need to actually deploy it. I know this sounds crazy, but I will tell you the vast majority of law firms don't do anything, and that money that they're owed evaporates into the atmosphere. So put together a strategy, and then ideally you get somebody who reaches back out to you who hasn't paid you, and either you collect that money or you're in a position where you could come to some sort of settlement agreement. But maybe the most important thing I've said is that if you're not getting paid and you don't need leave of court to do so, stop work on the project. Make that an engagement agreement clause. All right. Species number two of how to tackle this. The very best thing you can do is to avoid collections altogether or as much as possible. So what does that look like? Well, that probably involves an alternative fee agreement option if you're using traditional hourly billing. Flat fees, you get paid on a project basis, either all at once up front or in segments. And at any point, if the representation is not moving forward, client isn't getting what you need, client is a pain to work with, you can disengage from the second half of that flat fee or the third part of that flat fee. Basically, you're kind of unbundling the representation in a lot of cases. Evergreen retainers are, hourly billing, but an alternate version of hourly billing. And I've talked about those a bunch of times before. Basically, you have a running retainer so that if the client doesn't re-up the retainer to a certain level every month, you put in your stop work order and you stop working with them. A majority of firms I work with who do evergreen retainers, they never have any collections because they're not billing in arrears aggressively or at all in most cases. Subscriptions, similar thing. You get paid on a monthly basis. The person doesn't pay you stop the subscription. So the other piece of this that I think is important is one of the problems with law firm collections is that they send out the bill. They're relying on the clients to take some manual action to pay them. And if you're a lawyer, you're in the bottom of the bill drawer. If people have bill drawers anymore, you're after the mortgage, you're after the car insurance, you're after daycare. Basically, think of any bill, you're last. So if you can collect somebody's credit card information and you can have a credit card payment authorization form that you incorporate by reference to your fee agreement, then you can start taking payments on people's behalf. So you have their credit card information, you go into your software, you say, click, you're paying me now, you take it out of the client's hands. And that's completely legitimate if you papered that option for yourself. So, like I said, credit card authorization form is important for that. But then you will probably also want to give your client some notice. So instead of sending a traditional invoice, you can do something like send a notice 5 days before about what the payment amount is going to be and then run the payment. Now, there are still going to be cases where somebody is maybe giving you a credit card that is maxed out or needs to update their credit card information. So sometimes there's going to be some manual work, but by and large, you push a button. And in the case of subscriptions, you may not even have to push a button. That may be automated. Like that just comes out every month or sometimes with flat fees. If that's milestone based, once you hit a milestone, then the payment comes out. A lot of options here. So ideally, what you do is take as much of this process out of the client's hands. And if you leave some of it in the client's hands and they're not paying you, then you fall back on your collection process, which you have built out and which is codified in your fee agreement. This is great. Everybody gets paid more. Now let's figure out how you can use software to get paid more and leverage some of the new stuff that's coming out in the 8am family of products, which is like MyCase, LawPay, CasePeer, DocketWise, whole bunch of others. That's why we've got Leslie Witt coming up. She just happens to be the chief product officer at 8am. Now, if your alarm is going off, that's correct. We've hit the time marker. It's 8am, and we've got financial software management solutions with Leslie Witt. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome back. I've effectively run out of things to say, which is awkward because this is a podcast. So I'm just going to start doing a 1,000-piece puzzle. I'll start by separating the edge pieces from the rest of the pieces. Don't worry. I'm sure it won't take very long. No, I'm just fucking with you. That sounds terrible. Let's interview our guest instead. What do you say? So today, I'm very excited. I've got Leslie Witt, who is the Chief Product Officer at 8am. Now you may be asking yourself, what is 8am? Is it a time? Yes, it's a time. But it's also the new brand name for AffiniPay, which is the company that has given you LawPay and now owns MyCase and several other products. Leslie, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me. You may not know this, but I'm actually a passionate 1,000-piece puzzle maker. And
no way. Is that true?
You did correctly outline the essential strategy. But yes, it really is true.
So that seems to dovetail perfectly into your role as Chief Product Officer. Isn't that like putting puzzles together over and over again, right?
It's a metaphor. You can extend it. And in a certain way, I think that ability to kind of conceive of a heuristic, like big idea, identify the core problems and the strategies to make it all work together.
Right. So if we can leave puzzle making for a few moments, I wanted to ask you, like, okay, so you're relatively new to the 8am family. So give me a little bit on your background. What did you do before this?
Yeah. I've had a little bit of a circuitous career path. Started out as an architect of the build buildings kind, and then moved into the world of strategy and innovation consulting back in the early 2000s.
Huh.
I'd say when everyone was waking up to the idea that one way to approach new product innovation and commercialization was to actually spend time with your customers, core
What?
understand
That sounds
needs.
crazy.
What? I know, radical ideas. What if we understood what you were trying to do, what your problems were, and then deployed all the tools of technology and design in order to better design services and products to do that? So I spent about a decade at IDEO, fell in love with the space of money services and small business challenges, segued over to something that will sound fairly analogous to 8am, which is I was the head of design research and new product development at Intuit, focused on the QuickBooks small business segment. And then I had a kind of COVID wake up where I realized I really wanted to work on something a little closer to the core human condition, and that was to tackle the mental health crisis. And so right prior to 8am, I spent the last 4.5 years as the chief product officer at Headspace. But I always kept my fingers in the small business world alive. I was on the board at FreshBooks, and I was starting to think about making a change. And when 8am, formerly AttorneySync, came knocking, the combination of what they brought to the table in terms of opportunity, new brand, new platform, expanding towards other verticals, and at a point in time where I could leverage my history in fintech and small business SaaS to, help the company move forward. Just felt like the right match of background meets new opportunity.
That's cool. I mean, you've worked for a lot of cool companies also.
Yeah, I have. It's been exciting, and I feel really lucky.
Are you excited about the rebrand?
I am.
You kind of have to be, right? You're compelled to be.
Well,
excited
I have
about
to
the
be,
rebrand.
but also, I'm someone, so, my background makes user experience something that I deeply, deeply care about. And when I looked at the quality of the products that the formerly AttorneyPay already had, but the lack of connective tissue, both through the experience and especially through the brand and the messaging and the mission and purpose, it felt like the thing that needed to happen, and that it can now. And so it's very exciting to be in this new world where, we're kind of making new promises to our customers.
Can I tell you one thing though?
Sure.
Like when I was at the conference,
yes,
they had all these clocks all over the place set to 8am. And I kept being like, damn, I thought it was later than that. And it took me like 8 times before somebody was like, yeah, it's a branding thing. All the clocks are set to 8am. So
I'm sorry for confusing you, but
no, that's all right.
you can't have a name like 8am and not take advantage of that moment.
So 8am just had its first, I guess, would you call it a user conference?
Yeah, customer conference, customer and partner.
So how did that go? I heard really good things from people. What was your impression of the conference?
I mean, it was really insightful and for me delightful. Having joined the company just back in May, it was the first time I got to spend that much immersive, time together with customers, getting to see a lot of the things that we'd been talking about strategically shared out in the air, and getting very positive reception that we were really onto something when it came to solving customer needs and problems. That's an extremely fulfilling moment. And then as the product leader, also being open to the range of like, hey, this isn't working for me. And some of those very specific customer insights and customer needs, there's nothing like being able to have that as a one-on-one conversation.
Yes. Let's talk about what are the most interesting product upgrades, product updates you have for us coming out of the conference?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's 2 big areas that we've been spending a lot of time investing new product development energy around. And one of those is really leaning into cash flow tools, making sure not only do you have the insight and the kind of rigor to operate, but that you actually have access to capital. And so we have one of those tools out in the market. It's called Smart Spend. And we're working on releasing capital lending at the start of next year. and having conversations with customers across different practice areas, some of the new challenges that are popping up with changes in immigration filing, it just confirmed that there's a real need in the market and a real desire for tools like Smart Spend. I'd say that was one. And then, shocker, you pretty much cannot have a conversation these days without bringing up the potential of AI. We've been really focused on how we can unlock, more efficiency, more insight, greater capability in the types of interactions that already happen on our platform. So in particular with document upload and case management, to let our attorneys and their employees work that much more effectively. And so getting to launch our Chat with Cases 8am IQ service and open it up as a beta to everyone attending the service, it was awesome just to see the level of interest. And we have that beta live and, collecting user feedback and a lot of retentive actions, which I'd say behaviorally are always the things to me that speak more powerfully than excitement. It's that you actually use it and continue to use it because you're finding value.
So if you're listening to this and you're like, what is 8am? 8am is a lot of things. It's MyCase, it's LawPay, it's all these other different products. So if I'm a user of one of those products, like, how do I get access to this stuff? You said the beta's out. Do I have to apply for the beta?
Out. Right now, that beta is available to MyCase users who are in our top tier. And we are looking to make it generally available within that cohort over the course of the next about month. So if you're not yet included in the beta, you will soon be included in the general availability. We are also looking at ways to extend those core services into our other practice management platforms. So in particular, DocketWise has a number of AI features really right now focused on being able to take common data that's exchanged in forms and documents and make sure that that's always accurate, always pre-populated. Same thing when it comes to some of our automated workflows within our personal injury platform, CasePeer. So right now, MyCase is where we have the kind of utmost of our AI capabilities, but stay tuned as we continue to expand across our breadth.
Okay. Now for Smart Spend, which you mentioned, if I want to look into that, get access to that, what do I do?
Right now, same thing. This is available to all MyCase customers. And we are looking to expand as soon as possible in the next few months to everyone who is a LawPay customer. And what that is it's credit card revolving line of credit that allows you to really focus on billable expenses and map through to all your cases and invoices. So pretty exciting tool that is saving a lot of time and also just opening up some of those cash flow headaches that I'd say pretty much every small business and mid-market business face.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. All right. So let's stitch these two topics together. So there's AI, there's consumer payments, which have been happening for a lot longer than AI. Like, what kind of changes do you see taking place in terms of AI and payments?
Yeah. I mean, some of the most basic ones are also addressing real drudgery and headache, which are around like automatic reconciliation, being able to match transactions. I'd say as you expand out the aperture, a lot of the opportunity really is in helping you get paid every dollar. And so whether that's, capturing more time, capturing more expenses to bill through. And then I'd say even more importantly, ensuring on the reminders, collections, payment type, that all of those actions are, if not completely automated, and this is definitely at the discretion of a business owner, something that gets pushed to the foreground to action on with ease and quickness. And so a lot of it sits at that kind of basic level of business operations. But as you expand out and as we have access to more information, let's say you're a user of our legal accounting service, which has, full AR/AP visibility, and you are also someone who is really managing client communications or document management through our platform, then we're increasingly able to tether all of those things together into more directive insights. Which of my cases is the most profitable and why? How am I looking at employee productivity? And utilize the data that kind of sits there latently. And for those who are great at analytics and really know how to use reports, was always available, but required a fair amount of work
Right.
and often a decent level of expertise in order to unlock.
Yeah, I think those are two great use cases for AI. And I just talked about like a little bit of the rope stuff in the monologue. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I could use an AI tool to help me develop like a collection workflow for soft collection, if I could have an AI to help me source reports and dashboards that I'm not sourcing on my own, I think that's awesome.
Totally. And, I'd say overall, like, obviously, like the whole world is collectively interested and I'd say decently fearful of what AI can.
Maybe not fearful enough, but go ahead.
At times not fearful enough. And, I'd say where we see like deep receptivity and a lower risk barrier really is in helping firms operate more effectively and around providing more of the financial insights to how they work. Where the stakes are simply higher is as it starts to get more and more into the space of actually practicing law. And, there the stakes on accuracy, on making sure that everything is well referenced, they're simply higher. And it sits more in the zone of, this is what I am actually an expert at and that I am paid to do. And so there we're really looking at how do we empower information transference and more efficiency versus creeping into the space of actually practicing law.
Okay, I know you've been in the legal space for all of like 3 weeks, so this may be an unfair question, but what have you dived into this alternative fees question yet? Lawyers are always billing on an hourly basis.
Well,
They're looking at,
I haven't spent a ton of time in legal, but I spent a ton of time with accountants,
which is very similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels. And
Yeah.
I would say that the accountant community, at least a decade ago, if not longer, started to shift away from hourly billing and, kind of time and materials orientation to value-based billing.
Right.
Because it, in a way, I think, as someone who deeply believes in value-based billing, for a lot of use cases, it allows you to have aligned incentives. And it also allows you to lean into efficiency creation for all parties in a way that's transparent. So, I think that with the advent of AI, it's an accelerant to that shift towards value and gets you out of some of the nickel and diming. And then there's also hybrid use cases where it makes sense to have some level of value-based floor that then has a dimension of variability attached, which I think an hourly model can accommodate quite well.
I think a lot of attorneys I talk to don't want to move off of hourly billing because they feel like they'll be making less money in alternative billing models. And I think that's part of the hourly billing trick, is that it promotes inefficiency. So yeah, the more you work, the more you get paid. I at least in my experience, like most of the attorneys I work with, they actually make more money.
I was going to say, I would say the opposite feel is true in the accountant space, which is...
Okay, so give them the pitch. Tell those reluctant attorneys why this is good.
I also personally went through it myself when, I was a consultant, a strategy consultant, that shifting out of a direct time and materials model and really getting explicit about outcomes, deliverables that go into a value creation approach was something that got all parties aligned from the onset. And so I'm quite optimistic about what this shift will mean. And I don't think it'll be wholesale, right? There's certain practice areas that make more sense to be, oriented towards hourly. There's certain types of work that the structure doesn't lend itself to as well.
Yes.
But it's an exciting evolution, I think.
I don't know that I've ever interviewed a chief product officer before on the show. I know I joked about this a little bit.
Well, I hope it's
before.
a wonderful experience for you.
It's been fucking amazing. But for those interested, like, what does a product officer do? Like, what is the job on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I mean, it is basically to have the prioritization wand on how you're spending your resources from a technology perspective, especially to both incrementally improve existing products and explore what's next around future growth. So that's both from an organic and from an inorganic perspective, but saying, I see a market, here's how we can better serve the market that we have today. Here are growth opportunities, and you triage against those in terms of where you'll place your bets.
Do you get a real wand?
I have a wand. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's amazing. My next life, I'm a chief product officer.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I have one now. I can't just create new engineering teams. It's a wand that comes with a budget. But no,
that's the worst kind of wand.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, like your background is like very impressive. It looks like I would say like a 19th century studio in Paris, France. So you got the piano there. I know you're a music person.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, what are you listening to right now on repeat? Do you have any music recommendations? We're big music fans at the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little odd.
Okay, that's great. The odder, the better.
Yeah. So I mentioned that I played trumpet. I'm not sure if that was during our recording or before we started.
Well, now everyone knows.
Now everyone knows. I play, and it turns out, in case everyone doesn't know this, trumpet does not transition well to adulthood. You really can't play it casually. But I was really into jazz, and I have a 14-year-old son who is now a jazz drummer. And so we've been like re-earthing, and I have rediscovered Maynard Ferguson, who was a kind of 80s and 70s funk artist. And so really enjoying the Big Bop Nouveau record. That's probably the one that I've been listening to the most. My husband's like hopped on the vinyl bandwagon. So we've been like, pretending to be hipsters and putting on the record and listening to some of the jazz vinyl. And then
I don't know.
I'd also
doesn't
say
sound like you're pretending.
But like Krungbin, monophonics, a lot of I like the groovier side of things.
Leslie, you've been a lot of fun to talk to. Thanks for hanging out today.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
Thanks. This was fun.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. Next up, we're talking Dazed and Confused with Gyi Tsakalakis of AttorneySync. Welcome back, everybody. That's right. We're at the counter program of Legal Late Night, but we've got an entirely new guest. We've shipped Leslie off somewhere. I'm sure she's safe. This is a podcast within a podcast. It's a conversational space where we can address usually unrelated topics that I want to explore at a greater depth with my guests. Expect no rhyme and very little reason. Now, I'm very fortunate today because I've got the one and only. Ladies, grab your chairs so you don't swoon. Gyi Tsakalakis of AttorneySync. We were supposed to be recording this live at the Fairmont Hotel in downtown Austin, but we're at our relatively separate locations. So, Gyi, welcome. How you doing?
Jared, thanks for having me. Good to see you. I love the podcast within the podcast. It made me think of a dream within a dream from one of my favorite Christopher Nolan movies, Inception.
Oh, man. I love Christopher Nolan. I know we're not here to talk about Christopher Nolan, but...
We're not.
You're an Interstellar guy.
We're talking
as well.
movies. I'm a huge Interstellar guy, and I wore my Warren Zevon hat for you because I know you're a fan, and, at least one lawyer should be listening to this, so lawyers, guns, and money.
Hopefully. Although you never know. We're not even talking about the law.
What are we talking about?
Oh, I'll get there. For those who maybe don't know who you are, which I can't imagine that's that many people these days. Can you give us like the little rundown of like what you do?
Sure. So I was a lawyer. I still am a lawyer, licensed, not practicing. Yes. I founded AttorneySync in 2008, which is a digital marketing agency, but agency is a bad word, so we say digital marketing partners now.
Oh, that's good.
And,
I like that.
We help law firms make sense of the internet, and sense spelled C-E-N-T-S, not S-E-N-S-E. And we do.
This is why we have you on. Puns aplenty.
Puns. I'm a punisher.
May I just say that check out AttorneySync. Gyi really knows shit when it comes to marketing. For real. I'm not just bullshitting here.
Thank you. That's kind of you.
I know the work you do. And also, I might say that like when we were in Austin, I found you waxing poetic on many things, from wooden doors with respect to conservation commissions to Marcus Aurelius.
I have a lot of interests, and the other thing that I do that I'm grateful to you for, because you are the creator of the Lunch Hour Legal Marketing podcast. That was born out of born out of the summer of love, as I recall.
69. I was dropping so much acid. Like, I don't even remember doing this. Just tabs and tabs of acid. Lunch Hour Legal Marketing. Yes. It's a podcast that you still do with your co-host, Conrad Sam. I pronounced that oddly. Sorry, Conrad.
You did it right.
Would you tell people a little bit about the show? And also, you've got an affiliated conference now with the show.
Yes.
Which I think is probably going on as this episode releases.
It will be. So I'm going to promo this at the show. So you better drop it on the 23rd or people are going to be like, it's not live yet. Yeah. Lunch Hour Legal Marketing, Conrad. So Conrad Sam is the founder of Mockingbird Marketing. He's a former CMO of Avo.
Yep.
Been friend, we've all been doing this for way too long. So
I know.
we're all friends.
It's embarrassing.
And, all right, totally. And, he runs as Simon Sinek would say, a worthy rival agency, not a competitor. And we do the show and we talk trash about legal marketers, essentially what we do, so that lawyers can be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Legal marketers are full of it. And let me listen to what Conrad and Gyi have to say.
Conferences in Vegas this year?
Vegas. We're going to be in Vegas. We'll do it again. We're hoping to do it again. I don't know if we're going to do it biannually or annually, but, we've got... for whatever reason, people actually like listening to us and sending us messages about the show. And we were like, you know what? Wouldn't it be fun to meet in person? But seriously, we are super proud of our lineup. We've got, we're focusing on in-house marketing. Right. So, that's an audience that tends to be underserved. And we've got really just amazing speakers. I'm so grateful for the turnout. If you're listening to this, and obviously, if you're walking past the Bellagio on 9/22, come on in. But if not, we'll hope to see you for the next edition of the summit.
In Dearborn, Michigan? That's what I'm hearing.
No.
That's in
Dearborn, Michigan. Is that where we're doing it? I haven't heard. It's TBD. It's between Dearborn and a couple other local spots.
Location TBD. So let's get into it. We were supposed to be doing this in Austin, and I wanted to do like a movie panel. But then I'm like, fuck it. We'll just have Gyi because he's like a panel unto himself. So I wanted to do a little Dazed and Confused rewatch review.
Classic.
So for those who don't know, Dazed and Confused is a 1993 film following different high school students on the last day of school, ... in 1976. What a great time to be alive. I would assume. I was not born at that point.
Just missed it myself.
Yes, same. This is Richard Linklater's breakthrough film as a director. I think he had one movie before this, but this is the one that really hit. This movie is a cult classic, stacked cast of actors. Some of them would become bona fide movie stars, some would not. We'll talk about that. So as they say, all right, let's get into it. Gyi, I've got different categories that I put together to guide our conversation around the movie. And we're going to hit like 5 or 6 topics and we'll trade off. So you can go first on some, I'll go first on the others. But let's start with this. And I'm assuming you've seen the movie. Not you.
Many times.
People who are listening. Like, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie now. Put us on pause.
Yeah, push
back.
Pause. Yeah.
It's worth it. Who's the MVP of Dazed and Confused? You can zag or you can go with the obvious choice, but have at it.
Well, so sadly, my zag and obvious choice are one and the same.
Oh,
and,
okay.
I'm a philosopher, Jared. I was a philosophy major. You mentioned Marcus Aurelius. I'm a huge Stoic. And the real, to me, the philosopher in this film is David Wooderson.
Yes.
The incomparable David Wooderson, played by Matthew McConaughey. And I think about the scene where they're sitting on the football field, where he's in his monologue talking to Pink, who's the quarterback, and the quarterback's, he's trying to decide whether to sign the no substance contract. And Wooderson's like, you got to live your life. And I'm like, you get it, Wooderson. You get it.
I looked this up before we start talking. Do you have a guess as to how much screen time he's got in this movie?
Oh, man. That's a great...
It's one of these like Anthony Hopkins and Silence of the Lambs, where he's on screen for like 8 minutes and like it's the whole movie.
I was going to guess 10 minutes. I'm going to say 10 minutes.
10 minutes of screen
time. 10 minutes.
Which is crazy because he's got like almost every iconic line in this movie.
That's how MVP he is.
Last time I was in Austin, I bought my daughter a Longhorns sweatshirt that said all right on it. And like she gets so many comments at school.
I mean, it's the tagline of the film. Who's your MVP? Do you have an MVP? Did you answer these questions for yourself?
I mean,
or are you not?
Yeah, I did. But like,
okay.
I mean, I don't know. How I got an alternative, but how is Wooderson not the MVP? Like,
well, you know, you have different strokes for different folks. Who you got?
So I went with Cynthia Dunn.
Okay.
Remember her? Redhead in the movie?
Not really.
So this is interesting. She is Giovanni Ribisi's sister in real life, which I did not know until I did a little bit of research on the movie. So she is like the high school girl who's like effortlessly cool. She hangs out with the boys, that kind of thing, very chill. And I think it's interesting at the end of the movie, like Wooderson's been through the high school ringer. Like he's dated the cheerleaders, the popular girls, and at the end he's trying to hit on like the kind of nerdy girl who's got her shit together and wants to go to college.
Huh.
You're not into it. You're like, no.
I am. No, I I do. I love that. I love
you
that.
You took Wooderson. I had to have a backup.
I took Wooderson. No, and that, it's only fair. And I like the nuanced point there, though. And, as a ladies' man, I expect nothing less from you. So if you say wife, ladies' man, is that when you get canceled for that?
So my wife doesn't listen to this podcast.
All right. Totally.
Here's I feel like if you haven't seen Dazed and Confused and you're still listening, you didn't press pause like we said, like you just know the Wooderson lines. Like when he's asking the guy if he has weed in the car and the guy's like, no. And he's like, it'd be a lot cooler if you did. Like I probably say that like 3 or 4 times a week.
That's the thing. People who haven't seen this movie, like they already are using lines.
Unbeknownst and they don't even know
them. It. Right.
The one that'll get you canceled though is when he's like, the thing about high school girls, I keep getting older and they say the same age.
There's a lot of things that you can't make a movie like this anymore.
Yeah, sadly. I don't know if that makes it into the film in 2025.
That's right.
Do you know how he came up with the all right thing?
I don't.
So when he got cast for this role, which was like his first big movie role, he was listening to like a Doors live concert. And then he, in between songs, Jim Morrison says that. He's like, all right. And he was like, what are the things that Wooderson is into? He's like getting high, rock and roll, and picking up chicks. So he's like, all right. That's how I came up with it.
Genius.
Fucking McConaughey, man. Okay.
Genius.
For people who've seen the movie, and for those who don't, I'm filling you in right now. One of the things that's really crazy is it starts out and there's the seniors and there's the freshmen. And everybody is like very into hazing. It's like the first like maybe half of the movie. They got paddles. They're running the freshmen through all these kind of, it's crazy.
The movie is actually about hazing, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's the main plot.
I remember when I watched it, I'm like, holy shit, like this is demented.
Yeah.
Because
Fish calls it hazing.
Like by the time I was in like high school, like we weren't doing shit like that. I wasn't, at least.
We didn't do it in high school. I was introduced into hazing until I got to college. Hooray for college! But high school, no, I didn't. And I was a sports ball, football guy, and we didn't haze. That was a no.
All right, so maybe because of this film.
Yeah, right.
So I want to ask you, like, who is the most demented hazer in the movie, and what do you think their mental illnesses are? I actually went into the DSM and looked up some mental illnesses for people.
Okay. Well,
you can choose first. I like
to me. Second. This was easy for me, and maybe I'm just not digging deep enough. So I can't wait to hear if you have another alternative. But O'Bannon is the true psycho. I mean, he
I
has.
knew you were going to say that.
I don't know what his problem is, but he has got some serious issues. He's getting way too much joy in the pain of others.
It's so
something
twisted.
during his child. You know what they should have done? In fact, Ben Affleck can still do this. They should do an O'Bannon movie about his backstory. Like, what happened to O'Bannon? That
would just be depressing.
Yeah, and maybe Christopher Nolan can direct it. It'd be like very dark.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Who
that's...
you got?
I went... So I had a Zag prepared, and I went with Darla, who's the female version of O'Bannon.
Yes.
She's actually one of my favorite characters in the movie. She's fucking nuts. Like, she has some crazy lines, too.
And this
freshman
Parker Posey's
bitches.
Character?
Yeah.
And Parker Posey's great. I love Parker Posey.
She's like, in this movie, I think she's one of these girls who you're like, I can fix her.
Yeah. She's the other person that was on my short list. Because and I don't know what problems she has.
I think she's even introduced first. Like, she's the first one in the movie.
Like, she's like not even getting enjoyment out of it. She's just like burn everything down. Like, right. O'Bannon, like, he's enjoying himself. She's just like mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the lines she comes out with are crazy at the beginning of the movie. And so I was also doing a little bit of research on this. And so that girls group in the movie with like her and Joey Lauren Adams, like, they actually drafted their own dialogue for the movie.
Oh,
which I thought was really interesting.
Interesting.
Do you want to hear some mental health disorders that I uncovered? Because these are two characters I had too on my list.
Okay.
I thought the most interesting for O'Bannon was intermittent explosive disorder. Have you heard of this?
Okay. I have not, but that's like the descriptive words sound right on point.
Repeated sudden episodes of impulsive, aggressive, or violent behavior.
Yes.
Gets pranked. He has like all this explosive rage. He's like really, really into the paddling. It's visceral.
Like way too excited. Like, in fact, he's like calling dibs on first paddle.
I never got the paddling thing. It's kind of like this psychosexual craziness. So that was one I had for him, and then for Darla, I had sadistic personality disorder.
Totally.
Which I think derives pleasure from inflicting psychological or physical pain and manipulates and humiliates others for personal satisfaction. I say that's right on point.
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying this. I wish I had more questions.
Maybe a sociopath.
Maybe. Let's do the opposite of the MVP question. So how about an actor in this movie who should have had a bigger career but didn't?
So you named her for me. Mine was
Really?
Joey Lauren Adams.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay.
I mean, she had a decent, don't get me wrong, she had a decent career. I really liked Joey Lauren Adams. I liked her in, was she in Clerks? And
Chasing
I feel
Amy?
like Chasing Amy. And then I always confuse these Kevin Smith movies, so I might be getting this wrong. Was she in Dogma? I feel like she was in Dogma, maybe.
I think she was in the Kevin Smith movies, full stop. I think she
all
may have
the
been in
Kevin
all
Smith
of them.
movies?
Yeah, because I have Kevin Smith fusion as well.
And I liked her. I loved her in those movies, and I felt like, I don't know, again, I don't want to, we're saying she should have been a bigger star. I mean, she's a star, certainly more of a star than either of us will ever be. But I thought she was going to take off. I thought she was going to skyrocket.
That's a good one. I hadn't even thought of that one, honestly. That wasn't even on my list.
Who you got?
Well, can I ask you this first?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of the voice? Like, she's got that kind of weird sounding
little
voice.
Nasally.
Yeah. Do you think
I like her voice?
You do? Okay. So I was kind of thinking like a Jennifer Tilly thing, where the voice is like really affecting and potentially not in a good way, depending on how you take it. But you're in on the voice. Okay.
I think the voice is unique and it is signature. Like, when you hear that voice, it's her. So, maybe she's not going to be in radio, but
or
I don't know,
podcasting.
podcasting. But I liked her.
That's a good one. That was not even on my radar screen. Okay. I guess because I thought she was a big enough star. Okay, so
Yeah, and that's fair. That's kind of why I thought. I was like, is this really? But I was like, I feel like she had just enough critical mass that she could have propelled into the stratosphere of stardom.
yeah. Okay, that's a good one. I had some really crazy ones, but now I can go with my less crazy one.
No, give me
what
your
about Jason
craziest one.
London? I'll give you let me do Jason London first. Right?
Okay.
Like
I don't like
quarterback,
Jason London.
You mentioned it before. Really?
Great
All right,
role.
why.
Yeah, great role.
Well, you don't like
great
him as an
character.
actor or in the movie?
I don't like him as an actor.
Really? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
You're like,
I don't know.
I will
It's
not talk about anyone I knew in high school, but fuck Jason London forever.
Sorry, Jason London. What else
you
was Jason?
suck.
I don't even know. What else was Jason London in? There's something that Jason
Like
London was
nothing.
in that I really didn't like him in. Yeah, I look
was
this
he
up
in?
now.
I'm
Let's
trying to
see.
look it up
Internet.
as well. Well, so while you look up, here's the thing that I thought was interesting about Jason London. Like, he lost similar roles to other people that might have helped him to break out. So did you know that he got James Vanderbeek was cast over him for Dawson in Dawson's Creek.
I did not know that. No, I did
And then
not.
in Sliding Doors moment, like then maybe he becomes Mox from Friday Night Lights. Or no,
Right.
Varsity Blues. So he's
Varsity
got
Blues.
like a couple of these like iconic quarterback roles.
I'm trying to see. None of these movies he's in.
He's not in any good
bells for
movies.
me.
That's the thing.
He's
Yeah.
in something that I did not like.
And I think I think
Totally
also like if you look at
blanking.
McConaughey, like McConaughey got cast for some roles that he might have been in as well. And he
He's
also
still
tried
making
different
movies
things.
too.
Yeah. And he's got a twin brother too. Jeremy London, who also sucks. That's right. I have it out for the entire London family.
Maybe
Just-
I'm confusing Jason with Jeremy London. Let's see, Jeremy.
You're like,
London.
oh wait, Jeremy London's actually
Jeremy London's
terrible one.
actually who I don't like. Let's see. No, it's Jason, I think. Let's see.
You're like, nope, I don't like him. Yeah, that's the guy I thought who would have been like easy. Like I would have thought of him as like getting a role on a popular TV show like Dawson's Creek, but it never happened.
Yeah.
The kind of other one I had, the deep cut, was they've got Mitch Kramer in this movie who's like a freshman baseball player.
Yes.
Like he's the one that
Yes.
gets paddled and stuff like that.
Yes.
He's the object of Ben Affleck's affection in this film.
Yes.
But he was like he was in a lot of this movie, and he like never did fucking anything ever again.
Wiley Wiggins.
Yeah. He did this other Richard Linklater movie, like kind of like this weird animated movie, Waking Life. But
Okay.
then like nothing. After that,
Yeah.
he did a lot of indie movies. But I could have seen him doing like, I don't know, I was thinking like maybe a Paul Dano type of route.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
Riddler, like he's in There Will Be Blood, Little Miss
I love Paul
Sunshine.
Dano.
He's really good. I agree.
Yeah.
Are you a There Will Be Blood guy?
Oh yeah. I mean, who can't be a
Daniel Day-Lewis is
First.
great.
Daniel Day-Lewis? I mean, maybe the greatest actor.
Quick spoiler alert, but like at the end of that movie, every time he does like the "I drink your milkshake" thing, that just fucking cracks me up. It's so weird and
So
off-putting.
good. So good. So uncomfortable.
All right, okay, good one. Okay, two more questions.
All right.
Second to last question. What's your favorite needle drop in the movie?
This was the hardest question for me.
Yeah.
And
tough.
I have two.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay.
And again, you're going to be like, Gyi, you're so basic. But,
no, I did three because I thought this might
okay.
happen. Okay.
So I'll give you, in no particular order, Slow Ride
Oh, yeah.
or Sweet Emotion.
Yeah.
Both of those for me. I probably, if you really twisted my arm, I'd probably go with Slow Ride.
Really?
Just iconic. It just seems to to me, when that needle drop happens, like that's what I think of Dazed and Confused.
right. Yeah. Little fog hat for the people.
Yes, little fog hat. You know what you should, for the people also, because now people that don't know this have already ChatGPT'd it, but you should tell people what a needle drop is. I don't know that everybody knows what a needle
You don't
drop
think
is.
so?
Maybe, I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know if I have a great definition for it, but a needle drop is essentially like when a scene is starting and they just hit you with this song, and it usually plays out through like a significant portion of the scene.
Yes.
Like you can, if you start to think of it that way, you can think of a lot of iconic needle drops in movies.
Oh yeah.
All right, I got two for you.
Mm-hmm.
Rubber Band Man by the
that's a great
Spinners.
one.
Tremendous
So
song.
good.
Also, I will say, like, also in Guardians of the Galaxy, needle dropped in there as well. Just if you don't know the Spinners, like that song is fucking phenomenal. I could listen to
I love that song. I love that song.
Great tune. And then the other one was Tuesday's Gone, Lynyrd Skynyrd, which is used in a lot of movies as well. They play that out, I think, at the end a little bit. So, excellent. We do a lot of music talk on the podcast, so just more music talk. All right.
Love music.
Last question for you.
Yes,
as I pull out my Foghat 1976 concert tour T-shirt, which I should definitely own. Richard Linklater, director of Dazed and Confused. What's your favorite Linklater movie? Is it this one or is it another one?
So it is this one, but I came up with a second one just because I was like, we're talking Dazed and Confused. Let me get another
figured
one.
You might, yeah.
And I added the Newton Boys. You ever see the Newton Boys?
Full disclosure, I have only seen 3 Richard Linklater movies.
All right.
This one.
What 3 have you seen?
School of Rock.
Yes.
And Boyhood. Those are the only 3
I've not seen Boyhood. I like School of Rock.
School of Rock.
Probably should watch Boyhood because Boyhood's probably one of his better films, right? More popular films.
I will just throw it out there. That's my favorite movie of his. I feel like that should win
not
the
of all
Academy
time.
Award. Yeah. No, not of all time. Not of all time.
Okay.
I'm not really. Now I feel like an asshole because we did like a half an hour on this, but like he's not my favorite director. Like I'm a much bigger Christopher Nolan fan. I feel like we should have you back on to do Christopher Nolan at some point.
Oh, I would come back for that for sure. Especially, you know what we'll do? We'll cover his new movie about
the Odyssey.
The Odyssey, yes.
That's gonna be fucking great. I can't wait.
I think so. I hope they do it. I mean, I can't imagine they will.
So Boyhood I like the conceit of Boyhood is that like they filmed it over like 12 years and the kid actually grows up in the movie. It's very affecting in that way. It's kind of
That's a commitment.
Yeah.
That is a commitment.
I just love the conceit of that movie. And I think
Did they pay everybody throughout the whole time? I mean,
I think they just came back and shot like at different periods of time. So it was like a regular movie in terms of how long they filmed it, but they would just do it in spurts over the course
But the meter wasn't running the whole time.
No, fortunately.
Most expensive movie of all time.
Of all time, yes. But that's my favorite. The School of Rock's fucking great. Too.
School of Rock is good.
But tell me about the Newton Boys. Like I've heard of that movie, but I've never seen it before.
Yeah, another Matthew McConaughey movie. And there's somebody else in this that Ethan Hawke, Skeet Ulrich.
Oh yeah, I like him.
And they are they're basically bank robbers.
Oh, all right.
It's good. You should check it out.
I'm interested. Is it streamable? Can I find it on Netflix?
I have no idea.
Do I have to go scoop my local video store? As if such a thing exists.
Well, you can go into the dark web or whatever. It's probably in the nether regions of the internet, but it's only 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't know. Maybe don't waste your time.
I don't know. That's not bad.
I liked it.
And
it's got Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Juliana Margulies.
Dude, like, I mean, Billy Madison has like a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes ain't shit. I'll watch this movie.
Linklater, you got to give it to Linklater. He pulled some casts. Like he pulled a lot of great actors in.
This was fun. Any last words before we leave Dazed and Confused behind and go on to college and live our lives?
No, I grateful to be here. Good to see you. I enjoy this conversation, and I'm gonna play some. I don't know what I think I'm gonna play Rubber Band Man.
Yeah.
In the outro.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you, Gyi. Check out LHLM, the podcast, the conference, AttorneySync, and we'll come back and do Nolan.
Deal.
Thanks to our 2 guests today. That's right, 2. Doubling up. We've got Leslie Witt of 8am and Gyi Tsakalakis of AttorneySync. Maybe we doubled up because those interviews are now in the past. We move forward. To learn more about Leslie and 8am, our gracious hosts for the Kaleidoscope Conference, visit 8am.com. That's pretty easy to remember. The number 8am.com. To learn more about Gyi and AttorneySync, our gracious secondary guest for this episode, who I just met in Austin and is now back in his homeland of Michigan, visit AttorneySync.com. AttorneySync, SYNC.com. Now, because I'll always be a 90s kid who still gets Fast Times and Dazed and Confused, even though the former is an 80s movie, though the latter is a 90s movie that takes place in the 70s. Now I'm confused. Whose true passion is burning CDs for anyone who would listen. I'm now just doing the modern version of that, which is creating Spotify playlists for every podcast episode that I record, where the songs are tangentially related to an episode topic. This week's playlist, not even a tangent. It is directly related to what we just talked about. Needle Drops in Dazed and Confused. They got some good ones because the soundtrack is dope and would probably be too expensive to accommodate today with all the rights issues in place. And it's sponsored by Terry Black's Barbecue of Austin, Texas. We got a theme. I'm just kidding, by the way. Terry Black's hasn't sponsored shit, but I wish they would. I would be very down for some free or discounted barbecue. Call me. Join us next time when I'm still in Austin. No, I got back a couple weeks ago. Talk soon, everybody.